Hello, and thank you for joining us yet again in our Meet Frederick series. This is Laura Johnson from Hummingbird Wealth Management, and today I have Amy Giannakoulias from Trembling Giant Marketing. They are located in Eldersburg, Maryland, and I know this is the Meet Frederick series, but as you guys have heard from me before, Meet Frederick is all about the businesses that serve and support the Frederick community. And Amy and her company, Trembling Giant, are definitely one of the supporters of the Frederick community. So Amy, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're just going to get to know Amy and her company a little bit more. So I'm just going to start out with Amy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your company?
Okay, well, I was born in DC and raised in Potomac, Maryland. I went to University of Maryland and got a bachelor's degree in art history. And after that, I got married and had 2 children, and I have a strong retail background. So after college, working retail management for a while, I finally jumped ship, left the retail world and started my own business in 2004, which was a company called MBD Maryland, which has morphed and changed. As 2016, I merged with my business partner, Rich Austin, and his company was called Trembling Giant Marketing. So we merged and lost the MBD Maryland, which was actually Manhattan Business Directory, and merged into and took over his company name.
Oh, okay. So I'm learning things from you just in that little spiel, because I've known a lot of people don't know this watching this, but I've known Amy for several years. She belongs to as a part of the BNI group that we're both a part of in Mount Airy on Friday mornings. I had no idea you were a Maryland grad. I had no idea that you used to live in Montgomery County.
Yeah,
I'm a Maryland grad. Used to live in Montgomery
nice.
County as well. So
Nice.
that's very awesome. So tell me, I mean, what your business, what is it that your business, Trembling Giant, does? What are the
So
services that you offer?
what I was just a direct mail publication, and when I merged with Rich, we became a full service advertising, marketing, branding, public relations company. So everything now we can service businesses, everything they need from A to Z to start up or rebrand or market their business, everything from logo design, websites, and everything in between. So instead of me by myself just providing one piece of advertising and marketing, now we're just a full service agency handling everything any business could possibly ever need.
Okay. So what drove your decision to start the company, and what were some of the benefits of you merging with Rich? What kind of led up to that as well?
So my brother lived in Manhattan and he started and created the Manhattan Business Directory. And for 11 years, while I worked in management and retail, he kept saying, you've got to leave and go on your own and do this. And eventually, after, the 2 children and the grueling hours and the holidays and the nights and the weekends, and I wasn't seeing my kids, I finally just jumped ship, cold turkey, didn't look back. And I started, he gave me 2 days of training. He came down from New York. I had one sample. I had nothing, no contracts, no paperwork, no business cards. Came down and I had made some cold calls. I had booked 6 appointments by cold calling. He came down, we went on the appointments. He went back to New York and I was on my way. So I did it just to get my life back, because I had no life. I had no life outside of retail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your story kind of resonates with me and probably resonates with a lot of people who are listening to this interview, is that, I worked for a company for 27 and a half years. And for several years, I mean, it was blood, sweat, and tears for that company, and no ill will towards that company at all. But I found I was bleeding their colors, not mine, and
Correct.
spending a lot of time away from my family. And when I left them, which was not under the best circumstances, I was actually terminated. I tell people all the time, God intervened, and in your instance, your brother intervened, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it's scary making
Very.
that jump, that
Mhm.
if having faith in yourself to say, I'm jumping. And you had nothing. You had your
Nothing.
brother, which is a good thing to have. But beyond that, you had nothing. You had no clients, you had no product other than one. And you did it. And here you are. And so that's,
I had moved from Potomac, and then I had moved here into Carroll County. I didn't know one person. So I really started from ground zero. I didn't know a soul when I got here. And I had to learn how to cold call. I had to learn a whole new set of skills, and it was a learn as you go process. And it was blood, sweat, and a lot of tears.
yeah, yeah. That part of your story also resonates with me with my son, because he goes door knocking, and I'm like, God bless you. I mean, that's got to be the biggest set of rejection when you're
Mhm.
knocking on the door, or in your instance,
Yep.
cold calling.
Yep.
But it kind of strengthens your resolve and your will, and probably makes you even that much more successful, because you got to think outside of the box all the time, right?
It gives you thick skin.
Gives you really thick skin. You no longer have the fear of rejection. You have this, I'm going to get rejected. It's just how
Yep.
many
It's
times,
just,
right?
it's all statistics, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it is. It's definitely, owning your own business is not for the easily upset, somebody getting easily upset. So tell me a little bit. I mean, everybody hears marketing, and everybody has a little bit of an idea of what that is, but tell me in a little more detail about what services that you and Trembling Giant, what are some, like maybe the top 5 or top 10 services that you guys offer?
so I think we're strong with strategic planning, taking a client's budget and figuring out how to maximize the budget and get the most bang for the buck. So, we'll take whatever amount, small, medium, large, and figure out how we can stretch it to get the most results from it. We do have strong interior, inside graphic design team. It's 3 of us. It's Rich, myself, and Emily, our full-time graphic designer. But Rich is also a graphic designer as well. So we really do a great job with designing logos and business cards and rack cards and anything that businesses need, their brochures and menu boards and what have you. So I think those are our strong services, but we do, social media and blogs and, Google AdWords and, all the print and promo stuff too. So anything really, and anything that helps businesses grow
Mhm.
the most affordable way is what we strive for.
Yeah, and I know every business likes to think that they don't need a marketing plan. They can just have word of mouth and referrals. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of times marketing in general is seen as a validity to who you are as a company, that you are real. So having that website and having that social media presence, and still having business cards despite our electronic age, I think that that's important as well. And logos can definitely be telling. I mean, I get people asking me all the time, oh, you're Hummingbird. I'm like, well, no, I'm Laura. But Hummingbird has
Right.
definitely become a name. So you
Mhm.
mentioned budget.
Mhm.
When you're looking at companies, what is your recommendation as to what kind of budget um, a company in general should have for marketing?
Everyone sets a different budget. Some, will take 10% of their income and put that towards marketing. As your business grows, your marketing budget should grow with it. Somewhere between 10 and 20, maybe even 25%, depending on what the industry is. But you definitely have to set aside some marketing dollars. Word of mouth is great. It definitely gets you business, but it only will go so far. So you always should have some kind of outside source, in addition to the word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting to me because I do a little bit of consultation on different businesses, and they're like, well, marketing's flexible depending on what's going on. And I'm like, no, you need to have some kind of budget, and it kind of depends too, I would imagine, on if somebody is fine with where their production and income is, or if they're continuing to grow, or maybe even exiting the business.
It just depends on what the goals are.
Mm,
So everyone's goals are different. Everyone says, well, I want to grow my business, but do you, and how much and how fast? And, slow and steady wins the race, and consistency is important. But each marketing plan is, created for each individual business and their goals and their needs.
right, exactly. And as much as I've tried to do it on my own, I have found that having somebody else do it definitely is helpful. So
It's
tell me,
easier.
I mean, we use marketing to attract clients. What does Trembling Giant do to attract clients?
So I think a lot of our business comes from networking and relationship building. Rich and I belong to a lot of different networking groups and business associations and boards, and we're just out in the community, serving the community and just meeting people. And we just are out there building relationships. And then the business just follows, after, you just meet people, and we're not out there actively seeking clients, but we're just out there meeting other business owners. And we host our own events too. So we host a monthly lunch, and we try to provide business and marketing information and try to educate the community as well. So it's mostly from working relationships, and then there's of course the word of mouth. And we do some of our own advertising, social media and print ads and things like that, but the bulk is probably referral and networking.
Awesome. Awesome. So, each of us as business owners have faced some kind of obstacle in building our businesses. So tell me, what obstacles have you guys faced, and what have you done to overcome those obstacles?
uh, you know I think just starting any business has its challenges. Rich had started, his business, and I had started mine. Both of us pretty much started from scratch, and had to learn as we go. And then merging together was a whole nother set of challenges, taking two businesses and merging them into one, and trying to, you know, figure each other out as well. But it's always hard too, because a big obstacle I think would be getting people to trust you. So there's that, you have to build that trust and the credibility with the community. So I think that is an obstacle that, we've overcome and shown, we put our money where our mouth is, and we're gonna, whatever we promise you, we're gonna deliver it. And, we're gonna be here to support. But anything getting off the ground is always a challenge. And, it's a learning curve, and all those trials and tribulations, they help you grow and be better. And it's also how you learn and grow from it as well.
Yeah, and you're very humble in what you're saying, because I mean, so a couple of things for the audience to know is that I've actually used Amy and Trembling Giant for on a number of occasions, and phenomenal work. But we just recently had you do something that you're like, I'm not happy with how this came out, so we're going
Mhm.
to redo this. And
Yes.
so your money is where your mouth is, and I do appreciate that. And I think it's very humbling that as long as you can remain humble as a business owner and recognize that while this is yours, like in my instance, this is mine. My ears are always open, my eyes are always open. Um, and listening to not only my clients, but my employees and the community as well, as to what it is they need and what it is that I can improve upon, so that I'm making sure that I'm providing that service. And I've recognized that in you as well, is that you're very good at listening, and that's very helpful, I think. But remaining humble is hard for a lot of business owners. As successful as you are, I find you to be very approachable and very
Thank you.
easy to work with, and I appreciate that.
You
So
can't take anything for granted.
you can't.
Mhm.
So this is a tough question. If you want to pass, I completely understand, because sometimes people are like, I'm not sure. But what is something nobody knows about you or your business that you would like to share?
I actually am very shy, and I don't like walking into a room of strangers. and is very difficult. And when I first started this business and I didn't know a soul, somebody sent me to a business meeting. It was extremely difficult to sit down at a table and just introduce yourself. And so I am very shy, and it is hard, but I've learned how to, force myself to go out there and build relationships and meet people and try to help others. Because once you help others, they help you. Um, but yeah, people don't believe that I really am shy, and I do have a little bit of anxiety with public speaking.
Yeah. So this whole thing we're doing right now,
Yeah.
it's out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate you doing that. And people, I think I've overcome it myself, but I was the same way. And my mom told me, I went to the University of Maryland, just like you, in College Park. Very overwhelming. Came from a graduating class of 300 people to my first accounting class had 600 people. And it was like,
Yes.
wow.
Mhm.
And it was just very overwhelming. And my mother said to me, we'll borrow a quarter from everybody on campus. That was back in the day when they had cell phones, right?
Sure.
And
Yep.
I was like, well, what's the point of that? She goes, you're either going to make a lot of friends or you're going to make a lot of money, or
Yeah.
both. And
Right.
I'm like, well, what a not, but what she said hit me. She goes, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? People are going to reject you, which was my biggest fear. She goes,
Yeah.
that's their loss, not yours. But yeah, I relate to you, not anymore. But I think a lot of it has to do with just what you're saying, is just putting yourself out there and knowing that what you have to offer could benefit somebody else in the long run. So that's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
So is there one nugget of information that you could share with someone else that's either thinking of starting a business or struggling in their business? What's that one nugget of advice that you could provide?
Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. It is not easy. It is an uphill battle. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Mm.
I was very fortunate. I had a very supportive husband, those days where it was the blood, sweat, and the tears, and I just want to throw in the towel. And he would say, don't you dare. You've put so much into this. You keep going, you keep going. By year 3, I started laughing because I was so upset, in the
Mhm.
beginning. And I feel like anything that you set your mind to, anything that you want to achieve, you can do it no matter what. And you have to have the struggles. The struggles are how you grow, how you learn, how you become better. But don't ever give up. You can do it.
Mhm.
Anything, if you set your mind and you put your heart and your soul into it, you can achieve anything.
So what I heard in there were two things, really three things. The not giving up is obvious from you, but having a good support system. You had your husband, I had my husband as well, and my family. I think having that great support system is good, and you just need to figure out what that support system. You can't have a bunch of yes men around you. You have to
Right.
have people who are going to tell you the truth. But the third thing I got out of that, just because of knowing you and how you talk, is having that passion for what you do. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? And that passion will drive a lot of the decision you make. People don't get into business most of the time to make money. We all want to make money, but behind that money is, why do we do what we do?
Mhm.
And I think that that's important as well. So Amy, I appreciate you being on here today. If anybody wants to reach out and get to know more about you, what's the best way for them to find you?
If you just go to our website, tremblinggiantmarketing.com, all the contact information is there. And I just want to thank you, Laura, for doing this for other people. I feel like, have such a passion for helping people. You're inspirational to others, and you are extremely humble, and probably don't give yourself enough credit for what you do for everybody that is in your surrounding circles. And I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. You're right. We probably don't, but I don't do this for me. I do this for everybody. So I do appreciate that. So, well, thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody that's been watching our videos. We have more to come, along with some webinars coming up soon about some different topics that I think everybody should find important. If they don't, they should. But you can find out more information about us at hummingbirdwealth.com. And we are on YouTube, social media, all across the board. So if you have any questions for us, just look us up on hummingbirdwealth.com. Thank you, guys, and make it a wonderful day.